What's up, everybody? I'm Marco Messina.
And I'm Michael Cantaris.
And welcome to Italian Football TV. It's been a little while. Yes. We've been traveling around.
We're back here in New York.
Is this the first video that we're making since coming back from Genoa?
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Crazy Serie A week filled with some amazing games. We're happy to be back. A lot of stuff has been happening. Really hope you enjoyed what we did with Sampdoria. That was an incredible experience that we'll remember. One of the best weeks of my life for sure. To have Dan and Adamo both with us, it was absolutely amazing.
Our first professional team.
First, right? Yes, not last.
That's right.
First.
Exactly.
Only just the beginning. But yeah, some crazy games. I don't even know where we're going to get started on this one.
Many.
What do you think about this weekend?
It was awesome.
Surprised?
There's a lot of games on Sunday, but it was spread out too. We got Friday and Saturday too. So
surprised?
Yeah.
Favorite game? Without going into details.
Favorite game, probably tough. That's a tough one. Probably
the Derby. The Derby? Yeah. That's the one I wanted to go with first. So, Roma Lazio, the Derby della Capitale. 3-1, Lazio won this game, and it was a very strange game because a lot was at stake for both of these teams. Lazio having an incredibly good season, Roma having the opportunity to cash in on Juve, not getting the great result against Atalanta, not picking up all 3 points, but Roma couldn't do it, and Lazio were so strong as a unit and defensively.
You know what, I mean, on paper, you see Roma on top, but we've been talking about how good of a season Lazio's been doing. And against Roma, Lazio have been the better team this season. They played them, I think, I think this is the 4th time. And almost all the times Lazio won. I think Roma won just the last one, but they still didn't qualify. That was for the Coppa Italia.
Yeah, you're right.
So they were better in every aspect of the game. Lazio played good defense, played good midfield, and played great attack, and this was a deserved win for them.
I mean, I think what you said about Lazio, Roma being better on paper, and some people were criticizing Lazio's performance, but because they say defensive, whatever. But I like the way that they played. They were smart tactically.
And
they defended first, and then they attacked. And when you throw on top of Simone Inzaghi being dealt with a bad hand, as Ciro Immobile before the game, he got hurt. Ciro Immobile, who's been such a pillar for Simone Inzaghi, he was out, and he had to cope with that, change some things around. I think he put Lukaku in or somebody in instead of him, and he really made a great difference. And I thought that Lazio played the smart game. While Roma were all over the place and a mess and didn't have the desire, Lazio were fighting for every 50-50 ball. Lazio were going for it. Lazio got the 3-1 win, even despite that crazy penalty call that we'll get into after.
Yeah.
I think that Inzaghi deserves so much credit, and I'm gonna quote what David Amiol said today on Twitter. Sometimes the best deals you make are the ones that you don't make. And talking about Bielsa's supposed to come into this Lazio. Simone Inzaghi, not even the front runner, but man, has he come clutch for Lazio in a very strong European position, a team that's young, that's fluid, and really has a future.
I got a bout for Inzaghi and Lazio. Before the season started, I was so mad at Lazio. We both were, and I said they're gonna have a horrible season, horrendous season, and they brought in Inzaghi like he was like one of the temporary replacement as a coach, and he's grabbing this team right now, and he's making them a European team.
Absolutely,
he's doing amazing with them, and we can see through all the results, fighting for Europe right now, and it's just amazing. Roma had everything to prove, and they weren't impressive at all. Exactly. They did not impress me at all. Lazio, on the other hand, 100% impressed me. Big fans of them now.
And to comment on Inzaghi, I love his passion. I love the way he was going crazy on the sideline when Lazio scored.
His tie was flying all over the place.
And it's not even that, we favor Lazio. It's just that Lazio really, in my opinion, deserved it. And it's also a nice story. For me, Roma were gifted this opportunity on a silver platter to say, listen, I don't remember I don't know how much plus it is, +6 or +3 they could have went to Juve. They could have closed that gap so much and still having to play Juve. If you really want to win the Scudetto, you need to do better. Okay, forget about winning. You need to put in a better performance. For me, they were a mess. For me, Spalletti's team were a mess, and they lost that opportunity to go closer to Juventus, which proves that they are really not a Scudetto contender. And what I've always been saying, that Napoli are better than them, I still believe. And I'm disappointed even in Spalletti, because we keep giving him excuses, I feel like. We say, oh, Roma, they screw themselves. Sure. The players don't care. And it does look like a lot of times the players don't care. But also Spalletti, I mean, you can't just blame the players every time.
No, listen,
you can't.
Spalletti, you played Lazio 3 other times than today. You'd think he'd have a different plan, a different approach, but it's the same team, and they're not even eager at all.
The way some of these players look. I mean, Dzeko was not playing today. Bruno Perez runs around in a circle. Manolas doesn't care. I mean, how many players can we talk about that don't give their 100% or don't care enough for Roma? It's unbelievable. The mentality is not there.
You know what's crazy? We're talking. I still can't believe how Roma can still be in that second place with how much we're bashing them, and I feel like they had a very bad season.
No, it's not been very bad. I mean, they're out of every competition, which is bad.
But even in Europe, they weren't playing good.
You know why I blame Spalletti too? Because he put all this pressure on, if I don't win a title, I'm going to leave. If I don't win a title, I'm going to leave. If I don't win a title, I'm going to leave. But listen, you're out of all the titles. You still didn't say that you're leaving. The idea, the confusion within the club is just what strikes me. And I feel like you're seeing it through the way that they're playing. That's just my opinion. Keita Balde, absolutely incredible. 5 goals in 2 games, his 12th of the season. He's the first Lazio player since 1998 to score a brace. That guy being Roberto Mancini. Keita Balde really doing, he's got that skill. You know, sometimes he would lose his head last season. It seems like this season he's really maturing under Inzaghi. This was De Rossi scored a penalty. We'll talk about the penalty soon, but that was De Rossi's only 2nd goal in a derby ever. The first one was in 2009, so I thought that was pretty incredible.
Let's talk about how they got the penalty, though. A little controversial.
So the penalty situation, I'm sure you guys all know, Strootman with a bad dive. It was a tackle which, at first glance, it might have looked like it was contact. I didn't think it was.
I thought it was.
But the referee agreed. He gave a penalty. There was absolutely no contact on this play. And Strootman, to me, that deserves a suspension in the future.
That is not. It's different if you hit someone and milk it, but he didn't even touch his ankle, and he fell.
And he didn't say anything.
And he milked it. He didn't say anything. And the ref after the game, he did say he was wrong about it.
That's very true. Yep.
It's horrible to see that, and you get rewarded for something that didn't even happen.
That's why I was almost happy that Lazio won, just because I felt like it would have been justified. I know, and I'm not doing this whole rigore per la Roma. I'm not saying like it's just a penalty for Roma, even though they have had the most penalties this season. But you know, sometimes yes, it's a legit penalty. Other times, it's okay to admit the referee makes mistakes for every team. You know, it was a mistake, and that's it. You take it as it is. There was also that mistake with Lukaku, which was a little bit debatable. Lukaku went past Fazio. Fazio touched the ball with his standing foot, but then clipped Lukaku, which could have been a penalty.
That's different.
At the end of the day,
that's a different situation.
Debatable.
At least it was got touched.
At the end of the day, everything went right. It was justified. Lazio won. Spalletti, after the game, just simply said it was an ugly Roma. He was not happy. You could see by the sideline. Inzaghi said that Orsato, the referee, told him afterwards that he made a mistake, but he still says, Orsato is still one of the best referees in Italy. After the match, a little fun thing is that Totti was asked by Lucas Viglia, Lazio's captain, for his jersey. Of course, we know this is probably Totti's last derby ever. He came in around the 75th minute, this 44th appearance against Lazio. He scored 11 goals previously against Lazio in this cup. Sad way to go out.
It is sad for sure. It's just, I don't know what Roma are lacking. I don't know if it's a mentality problem. I don't know what to say.
It's been a bad season overall for Totti. Just as an aspect, you know, to sit on the bench, it's not easy. It's not an easy way to go out. If he does go, it seems like he will. But yeah, it was a tough one. The Derby della Capitale. Definitely this year, Rome has been blue in the Coppa Italia and in the league. They've really proved a lot and come up clutch in a game that's so important, especially for the fans. The next game that we're going to get into is a really surprising one, and a team that is coming up clutch so late. Crotone against Milan, a 1-1 draw. A game that I simply can't understand how this happened. Crotone beat Sampdoria last week. The match that we were at, the match where we said, all right, we're going to Sampdoria. At least we know Sampdoria is going to win. But Crotone pulled it out.
It was a comeback.
And now they get a freaking 1-1 against AC Milan.
Listen, no excuse for Milan. They lost to Empoli last week, right? 2-1, and they draw against Crotone. I mean, hover both close to relegation, one in relegation, one right above relegation. They can only manage to get 1 point within 2 games, and they're fighting for Europe.
If you're a team, I mean, fighting for Europe is another question, because These are supposed to be 6 to 7 finals for Vincenzo Montella. These are finals that are extremely. It's not a freebie though. I'm gonna argue that. Okay. I'm not saying that it's acceptable, but
he could have got a Juve, he could have got a Roma.
Okay, but it's not a freebie. You know why? Because playing, I'll give an example. Playing a Torino or playing a Chievo Verona, a team that's already safe, that's not going to Europe, they're not going to relegation, is an easy team to play. A team that's in relegation, that's fighting to survive, to keep their fan base in Serie A, a team that hasn't been in Serie A for a long time, you fight until 95-0-0.
I get what you're saying.
The time you go into them. So it's not easy, but Milan should be able to handle a game better than that.
If you're fighting for Europe and one team's fighting to stay in Serie A, I think team fighting for Europe should.
These games are tough.
Take this
every year. I remember since I was a kid. My dad used to tell me. He goes, "I'm telling you, these small teams," and I didn't understand either. I used to say, "Oh, come on, it's Crotone." It wasn't Crotone at the time, and he'd say, "Watch, these teams. They're really, really hungry. And if you have a Milan who's really not there mentally, or who's a little bit confused, or not completely concentrated, these kinds of teams can really make you pay." And with a guy like Falcinelli, who's been really turning up for them, it's been incredible. For Crotone, this stat is absolutely insane. Michael, I did not believe it one. I'm about to read it, and I still don't believe it. In Crotone's last 4 games, they've picked up more points than in their last 18 Serie A games. So in their last 4, they picked up more points than in 18 previous Serie A games.
The whole beginning of the season.
Where the hell were you before this?
I think they started a little bit too late. Do you think? Is there a twinkle in your eye that could say that there's a chance that they can stay in the Serie A and Empoli could go to Serie B?
They're 4 points behind Empoli, and I would have said no, but I never thought Crotone was going to beat Sampdoria. I never thought Crotone was going to tie against Milan. You really don't know. And Crotone, honestly, credit to their players. They're really fighting. Even when others are looking tired, they are not. Another thing that I had is Crotone's coach Davide Nicola says that Crotone could have done more. He said they could have even deserved a win in this one. Montella says that he liked the performance, but it was too bad for the result. And he says, in terms of Europe, nothing changes. Everything stays the same. I mean, Europa League is a BS. I mean, if you're not going to get Champions League, to me, Italian teams don't take it seriously. I'd rather see an Atalanta in Europe, because maybe they're going to try, rather than seeing a Milan who's going to get knocked out against a freaking Beersheva.
I mean, we'll see. That was Inter that lost to
that's what I'm saying.
But still, bring some extra cash to the club. Try some new youngsters. I don't think it's the worst competition.
It could take your eye off the prize.
It could, but you gotta multitask. You gotta get more depth in the squad. So I think Europa League is always a plus if you're in it.
Okay, that's fair. Another game that we gotta talk about. Another tie in this one. Atalanta against Juventus, 2-2. A game that was extremely entertaining. 2 teams where it's not as surprising as a Crotone Milan tie. Juventus at the top of the Serie A table. It looked like at one point that they were actually going to take the win, but Atalanta the entire match fighting for every single minute, every single inch of the pitch, and they absolutely deserved a draw at least. They could have even deserved a win, honestly.
First half, they played. I think they have played almost Juventus. They were so hungry. They were amazing. And then the second half, Spinazzola with the damn own goal. It went 1-1 from there. Dani Alves towards the end.
Spinazzola, respect for that. You know, coming to Juve, so.
So Dani Alves towards the end 2-1, and they just kept fighting to the last minute. Freuler, he got maybe it was like a little. It was I'm not sure if Barzani touched it or whatever, but they got a 2-2. Fully deserved. Bergamo was on fire after that. It was so nice to see. It was a good point for that.
Atalanta show why they're fighting for Europe. They really did. I was thinking that Dani Alves goal was going to be the Scudetto goal, the goal that really brings it home for Juventus. But again, in the Serie A, at this point of the season, these kinds of teams are fighting for those inches. And Atalanta, a huge, massive point for your European contention, especially with what Inter and Milan did this week.
They're capitalized. Right now, they are 5th place. They are 5 points above Milan. It's tied for 5th. So if they stay in 5th place, they can make Europe.
Yeah.
And if the Milan clubs keep messing up, why can't they do it? They can make it.
They could.
Make Europa League.
One thing that we got to talk about in this match is that penalty that we saw on Toloi, I believe it was, with the handball. It looked clear as day. Some people saying it was a Bonucci push. After the match, Allegri says everyone could see that it was a penalty, but it is not an excuse. Excuses are pointless because they do not help us. I agree with that. I think that there's no real point talking about it. The only point in really talking about it is when there are those complaints that some of the bigger teams are always favored. I think that you just got to notice that in the balance and the macro of things, we need to understand that this VAR, the replay technology, needs to be implemented if you want to have less mistakes, fewer mistakes. The game goes quick. Referees are going to make mistakes. We know that this Serie A season, the referees haven't been up to par, and that's the way it is. You got to keep rolling with the punches. If you're going to complain that a freaking penalty against Atalanta over there is a reason why you didn't win the game, I mean, you got a deeper problem than that. And I think Juventus have been winning 6 years in a row, almost 6 years in a row, because they do not complain as much about these kind of things. They just move on, they see it for what it is, and they focus on what they can do better instead of just focusing on what they can't change.
I like what you said there, Marco. Like Allegri said it. Like Allegri said it, it's
pointless.
It is pointless because if you're going to complain about the penalties, I'll see how many Serie A coaches probably would have said.
Yeah.
I could have named 2 or 3 that could have said, oh, the referee messed up. We should
not Montella. Montella is very good guy.
I'm not saying any names, but I think it's needed. The camera's needed in soccer. We can tell the streamer one. He could have got suspended. Yes, in football. He could have got suspended there. There's always calls there should be cameras in there. And I just think it's time.
They're saying it's coming. They say next season that it's getting improved. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think that times are changing. It's pretty incredible that we're even getting to this point. I never thought that we would. I mean, I did think that we would, and I always thought that we should.
It's going to take longer, though.
I thought it would take longer. That's what I was going to say. After the match, Gasperini said, we have 4 finals left to try and make that European spot. Getting a draw tonight was the icing on the cake. Maybe it is a good thing also for Juve. Keep them on their toes, not just get that win. You know, they have important games against Monaco, and then just to wrap up the Scudetto, which seems like it's going to be wrapped up in the future, so keep them on their toes. Yes. But the real highlight of this match was post-match. Dybala and Del Piero, that little talk that they had, it was amazing. You guys got to hear this. We'll play it right now.
Cos'è stato per te Alessandro Del Piero?
No, cos'è stato no, cosa è un esempio. Sicuramente seguire le sue tracce non sarà per niente facile, però spero di poter fare quello che ha fatto lui nella sua carriera, anche come è stato non solamente dentro il campo, anche fuori. L'esempio per tutti, è sempre una persona molto corretta, ho avuto il piacere di conoscerlo di persona e mi ha dimostrato che è una grandissima persona, veramente.
Gli dico in bocca al lupo perché sono felice che lui possa seguire, ma che faccia anche meglio di me, ma lo sta facendo con il suo modo di essere, quindi questa è la cosa importante. Credo che lui se la senta e che debba continuare così, interpretando il ruolo alla sua maniera, che lo sta facendo straordinariamente bene per adesso. Comunque.
That was amazing. Being a Juve fan, seeing both of these guys, they both mean a lot to me. Del Piero, the way he talks, just as a man, I feel like I'm always learning and getting thrown so much knowledge at me when I hear him talk.
No, I agree. Del Piero's literally like a gentleman, and he always says what's on his mind. He says it in the most perfect way, and we'll also talk about the Montari thing. He always wants to keep
afterwards,
calm hands, exactly.
All right, so Inter against Napoli, the big game, the last game of the Serie A this weekend, the game that just ended for both of us. It was all Napoli. Is that fair to say?
I think Inter had 1, maybe 2 chances.
I don't remember.
But Napoli.
I don't remember.
I was being nice towards Inter, but Napoli dominated the game comfortably, very comfortably, even though they're only a goal up the whole time.
My boy Nagatomo just ruining everything for Inter. I mean, they got away with so much, not conceding that much, and Nagatomo just gave them a gift.
He went it clear, and it looped the perfect assist to little Jose Callejon, and he did a nice low volley and ripped it.
It's pretty amazing that Napoli didn't score more, to be honest, that it does come from Nagatomo.
They had a lot of chances.
Not to say that we wouldn't expect Nagatomo to screw up with the way that Inter's fullbacks have been this season.
Not like that.
Not like that. But still, I think that Inter were pretty lucky to only be 1-0 down, and Napoli could have gotten screwed. You know, we've seen a lot of times where Inter's not the better team,
I thought
and then
Inter could have pulled something towards that because they were getting some free kicks, some corners towards that. But, you know, Napoli were the better team, and they are so close. Roma, only 1 point separates them from second place, and they do have a better schedule than Roma. So they could overtake.
I have a theory. I have a theory on why Inter played the way they did today.
Okay.
Because they played like not a team. They played like a bunch of individuals. They played like they do not care. And I think it all has to do with Pioli and the coach, and not in that sense though, but in the sense that there's an understanding around the club that Pioli is not going to be there next season. The players are confused. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know who's going to be the coach. They don't know who's going to stay, who's going to go. And it's just gotten to this point in the season where things are going wrong. And then when you got a Napoli who are so together, such an awareness about them that they know where the ball's going to go and where their teammate is going to run before the play even happens. That's what happens to you.
And we talked about how great Napoli at their attack is so amazing. How fun was it watching Napoli play?
They got a great
their
attack,
is it's amazing. And Inter, they were cutting to their defense like nothing. Napoli's defense was very solid. Koulibaly, one of the bright spots of the thing. But yeah, like you were saying, they're scattered right now. They don't know what their future. They're not together, and like you're saying, there are more individual performances rather than a team. And
not good individual performances at that. Really just uninspiring, not caring, no desire to really try to push for a European spot. I mean, you would think that with Milan getting that tie, if you really wanted a Europa League spot, or just the ambition to be as a winner and as a footballer, just to not give your all is just weird. Afterwards, Pioli said that they paid for a terrible mistake, and it's more. I think it's more than that. It's not just one terrible mistake. I mean, you're lucky that Napoli didn't put 5 more bananas in your goal. But that's what I think. And I like Gagliardini after the game. He actually got called out by the Sky commentators. He's like, listen, you haven't been playing too good right now. Like, what's going on? Is it your injury? Is it this? Is it that? They said this to him. And he's like, you know, you're right. He's like, this past month, I haven't been myself. He says he's still not 100%. But, like he says, there's a deeper meaning, and he says Inter is just going through an ugly moment right now. You know, there was a time where Inter, in the covers of Gazzetta, they were saying, oh, they could challenge for a Scudetto, you know? But right now, there's no balance. There's no cohesion in the team. I feel like 2 months ago, they're much better. Now they went down. When we thought they were improving, they went down, and I think it has to be a series of bad mistakes, a series of making the wrong decisions, just piling up on you. You know, with coaching decisions, I mean, going through that many coaches, and then the players have to adjust to this, have to adjust to that, and Pioli not really being that foundation that they want, and all these talks of Conte and Simeone and Spalletti and all these things. I feel like Pioli's atmosphere. I feel like Pioli's almost not trying. It's like these guys are gonna like replay. I feel like he feels bad, like he's just there just to be there until a better coach comes, and we're all human, you know. He must feel bad about that. You could see he just from his body language, it just doesn't look good. You know, some of the things that he's done are questionable, and I think that we all just know what's going to happen. We know that Pioli's not going to be the coach of Inter next season. We know it. The players know it. He knows it. The directors know it. It's just a matter of time until it happens. And unfortunately, Inter fans are just suffering from the consequences of this. It's been too long. Both the Milan clubs really not in a good moment. But on the opposite side of things, Insigne looked absolutely fantastic for Napoli tonight. Coming off of that new deal, the fresh deal for Napoli, he looked like he had some ambition. He was holding the team on his shoulders. He did say after the match that there's some bitterness, that they're not competing for the title, for the Scudetto with Juventus. He said, we lost too many points to some of the smaller teams. We know that we've been talking about this. Those smaller teams picking up those points, they rack up at the end. How many points behind? Oh, Napoli's 10 points behind Juve. But for second place, you know, these tiny games that go 1-1 or 2-2. Look, they're only 1 point behind Roma right there, and that's going to be a fight for second place. Like you said, like Insigne said, he's right, and I think that Napoli are building. Sadi after the game called Napoli the Dreamers. He said, we are the Dreamers. He said, we have less wages, we pay less wages than most of Serie A clubs, and we're just still living that dream. He hit back at criticism. They told him, like, oh, are you mad that you're not higher up in the table? You guys are not doing that good. And he said, all of the big newspapers told me I was going to come in 5th. Now I'm on 3rd, and you guys still complain about me. So he said, like, cut him a break. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And he's going to come in 2nd. Napoli are going to come in 2nd place. For me, they're the 2nd best team in Italy. If Roma keeps playing like this, it's definitely possible. Napoli looked amazing today. I feel like if Napoli played Roma today, they could have beat them 5-0. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, the cohesion on the team. I mean, if you just watch some of the plays and the movements, and even the shots that don't go in, I mean, the idea is there. The mentality is there. The way of football, the style, the unity is there, and it's only going to get better for Napoli. But right now. Still, mentality-wise, winning a game, like he said, against the smaller teams, where you don't just have to play beautiful, you just need to get the win. They're still not there as compared to Juventus, is what I'm trying to compare it to. So there's some room to grow, but they still will be there. De Laurentiis was watching the game in LA. He was absolutely loving it. He tweeted a picture. He tweeted that he was loving the football. He congratulated Sadi and the boys. And these are some fun facts. It's the first time Inter failed to score at home in the Serie A since January of 2016. That's pretty insane.
Wow.
Also, for Napoli, it's the first time since 1933 that Napoli has beaten both of the Milan clubs away from home in the same season, and the first time in Napoli's history that they've beaten both the Milan teams away and both of the Roma clubs away. History.
Napoli, they're a growing team.
Wow.
And they're exciting. I can't wait to next season how well they're going to do.
I missed another stat. They have 11 away wins in a season. A club record. They're playing better away from home.
Like I said, they're
picking up vital points.
They're a great team.
Opposite of what we said with Inter, where they made a series of bad decisions. I think that Napoli have made a series of good decisions, and they're just not cashing in right now on it fully, but they will cash in on it. And last one is only Genoa have picked up fewer points than Inter over the last 6 Serie A games. And when we get into Genoa, you'll see their deep problems. So yeah, that was Inter and Napoli. The last few games are just some of the smaller teams. We'll give quick opinions on it. Torino 1-1 against Sampdoria. Sampdoria, where we just came back
Sampdoria should have
We
won.
had to hold on. One second. Here it is.
You have the jersey?
Check this out. Official from Sampdoria. They gifted this one to us.
Look how beautiful this jersey is.
If Muriel was playing, he would have wore this jersey. Just saying.
This quality is amazing.
It's so awesome. We'll leave it right here for this one.
Exactly.
Let's see. Okay,
But
so
yeah.
Torino Sampdoria 1-1. Chic freaking mania continues.
He's amazing.
Mike.
If he can't be linked to any more clubs, he scored this amazing goal from outside the box.
I want to know, where's my offer? I beat him in dizzy penalties. I think that I should get a little boost for that one, no?
He had 3 shots on goal at me for penalties, and he only made 1. That's pretty good for me. I don't even play professional, so come on.
Forget about it, Mike. Yeah, it was Chic Mania. He scored a sick goal, a chic goal. No pun intended.
It was awesome.
And also, Iturbi scored for Torino.
But
that's so weird.
Yeah, exactly, because we're always
like, what?
It was a mistake. It was a mistake in defense.
But still he scored.
He scored towards the end. Yeah, it should have been 1-0 to Sam. Torino weren't impressive at all. I thought Sam played a nice defensive unit. They played well.
If we had Mihailovic on here, he'd be screaming at you right now, because he went on afterwards on Sky and he called out Ambrosini. He says, I heard you talking before saying that Sampdoria deserved to win as much as we did. He goes, what game were you watching? You weren't watching the same game. He goes, at what point did Sampdoria deserve to win? He goes, they took 2 shots the entire match while we were playing so much better. Then he was pissed.
Do you think Torino didn't impress me? Like their whole season, very average compared to the players that they have. Very average. I'm disappointed in them because I thought they'd be the Atalanta right now, fighting for Europe, but disappointed Mihailovic, especially a great coach coming too.
Well, Mihailovic said after, he also said, we used to win at home and struggle away. Now we've improved away and we can't win at home, so yeah, there goes that. Yeah, he got pissed at Ambrosini. And also, one of the fun things of the weekend, and the thing that I really love the most, Bonucci was at the match with his son, who we know is a Gallo Belotti fan, and he posted this on social media, and it's pretty cool because it's so hard to be a footballer in Italy. You know, there's always these stereotypes like Gagliardini goes to Juventus Stadium and they automatically get so mad. But look, he went to Torino Stadium with his son as a Torino fan in a Torino jersey, just supporting his son and allowing him to be that in such a fierce rivalry.
That's amazing. I have so much respect for Bonucci. They even they had a few talks on Twitter, right, with Belotti. And Belotti even said how he appreciates him doing that. You can't force it upon someone. Even someone on Twitter was like, if my son did that, he can find a new family or something.
Yeah, he said if my son was, he's a Juve fan, so he said if my son was an Inter fan, he could find a new family. Yeah, a bit harsh, but yeah, I like that he's just honest about it. He's not trying to hide it, and he embraces it. I mean, it's 2017. You see how we are. Like, I feel like the new generation is going towards that less liberal approach where you don't really hate the team, you know? Like, you could like one team and not hate the others. That's just what I think. Genoa, Chievo Verona, 2-1, but the real storyline was under Juric, who after the match, in his press conference, started crying.
Assolutamente no. Cioè, per me non più belli, però momenti della vita magari più intensi di tutto, perché in difficoltà la mia squadra.
He walked off, Genoa falling really low in the table. He says he's not scared about going to Serie A, but I mean the way that Genoa went from doing so good at one point of the season to sacking him, to him coming back, and now the way that they are is just scary.
They were first place. I remember the first few weeks in the Serie A. Now they're only 5 points above the relegation zone. Very scary for them. It's... Well, what can you do? Judic is crying, Perin's out, Ingola got sold, everyone's leaving, and it needs a new start next year.
I feel bad. Judic just said, he's like, I don't even know what's going on at this point. I mean, you know, he should never have been sacked. The club screwed him over. Preziosi's having many problems, not only with the fans, but also with the players, apparently. And guess what? I'm going back to what I said. Inter made a series of unfortunate events. Genoa did the same thing. You start making bad things happen. Yeah, on a different level, but still, you make these small bad steps, then they all crumble, and then you say, oh, I don't know what happened, let me sack the coach. No, that's not how it works, and good, you're paying for it. Hopefully for Judic and the players, I hope that they do better, and hopefully they don't go down, which it doesn't seem possible. Cagliari Pescara 1-0, Cagliari won. Storyline really, Taxidis celebrating like they won the World Cup in the locker room against last place Pescara. What are you going to say to your Greek brother?
Actually, you know why they celebrate? I found out mathematically they could stay in the Serie A without getting relegated. That was one, but they still celebrate. They were last place Pescara. I mean, and they're playing at home.
Yeah.
So.
And Cagliari score a lot of goals and Pescara don't.
Exactly. You should save the celebration.
The other big thing that happened, this was a sad moment. The talking point was the Muntari situation. So, before the match ended, Muntari was getting racist chants the entire game. He said that when he walked off the pitch before the game even ended, he said he saw a little kid saying some racial stuff to him with his parents right next to him, and he said the parents weren't doing anything about it. So he went over to talk to him, or talk to the parents, and confront it. And the referee started getting mad at him, saying that you can't go over and talk to the fans. And then he even gave him a card, and he said you can't do this. And Muntari got emotional. He even said, he's like, I lost my head a little bit. He's like, I was going crazy. And he told the referee, like, where's your balls? How about instead of just officiating the match, you need to officiate everything, and you should do something about this and stop the game from being played. So he told him, instead of keeping the whistle in your mouth, grab some balls and do something about it. And he got in trouble for that.
Yeah, he got in trouble for it, but I like how he said he should stand up for himself.
100,000,000%. There's no justification in this at all.
The refs giving him the card, giving him yelling him when they should be yelling at the fans or whoever's doing it. It's disgraceful. What year are we in, and stuff like this is still happening? It brings the whole league down. Unless you.
It's true. You see?
Exactly. When you sneeze, it's true. But it brings the whole league down as a whole. They think they're hurting the player when they're really hurting the league itself. It's just. It's got to stop.
It's sad how some fans get to that point at a time, but Muntari is 1,000% justified for what he did.
Yeah.
I think that he handled it in the perfect way, exactly what Del Piero said. Del Piero on TV, on live TV, he said, listen, you did everything perfect. You did everything to a T. You couldn't have done anything better, and you should stick up for yourself, and I completely agree with that. I think just like Boateng a few years ago, he stopped the game, he walked off the pitch, and everyone followed him. That's exactly what Muntari should have done, because like he said, he goes, if I let this slip, if I don't approach this guy, it sends a bad message and creates a culture of bad stuff in the future happening, and saying, listen, if he got away with it this time, that guy could get away with it. But if he doesn't get away with it this time, next time it won't happen. And I'm in agreement with that.
I am agree with that. And you know what they should do? They should have cameras pinpoint the person.
They have them. They have them. They have them.
They're gonna take action.
They don't want to do it. They'll wait till something bad happens. Empoli, Sassuolo 3-1. We need Empoli to stay up. They lost because they're planning on that new stadium. But 25 million they're going to invest in a new stadium, a 20,000 seater ready in 2020 if it gets approved by the city. And Berardi with assist.
But if it doesn't get approved, we don't care if they go to Serie A.
Yeah, if they don't get approved, go to Serie B. We don't really care. Berardi's still alive. He got the assist. Palermo beat Fiorentina 2-0. Classic Palermo. Of course now, when nothing else matters, when you're so deep into the bottom of relegation zone, you score 2 goals against Fiorentina, which doesn't really matter at the end.
I mean,
And what's happening at Fiorentina?
So surprised. Fiorentina, then they beat Inter 5-4. They scored 5 goals against Inter.
5 bananas against the Inter.
And now they lose 2-0 against Palermo. That's
They're a
a
mess.
relegation. What is going on in the Serie A?
They're a complete mess. Paulo Sousa says that this is the worst Fiorentina he's ever had. He's going to get sacked. The whole team is going to get sacked. Everybody's going to get sacked. Fiorentina is going to become Palermo. No, I don't know. That didn't even make sense. But yeah, it's just a mess. It's a mess. It's a simple mess. In the last game,
from Europa League last season to horrible
to mess. Bologna beat Udinese 4-0. Michael's upset with Catanese. He probably doesn't want to talk about it too much. Destro got 2 goals.
Bologna, it's very hard for them to score 1 goal, and they scored 4 goals against Udinese. They're making Catanese look bad. Catanese is supposed to go to Napoli, and it's not going to happen if they see 4-0 on the score sheet. Most of the goals were either deflections or mistakes.
Michael's Greek, if you don't know, so he sticks with the Greek guys. So the entire time, Michael's like, yo, this Udinese defense, they're making Catanese look so bad. No one's going to make him an offer. But yeah, so yeah, they took 4 bananas. We keep saying bananas. And that is all the games. That is all the games.
It is all the games.
I got a fun question. We're going to end this with a fun question. Maybe this is something that we're going to keep doing. So, if you had to decide, I gave you a little hint of what it was going to be before. You either get Juve's attack or Napoli's attack. Which one do you choose?
If I have my own team, right?
Yeah, your own team. No Greeks are allowed.
No Greeks are allowed.
Yeah.
What's the point of picking?
Yeah, that's true. The team would never win if no Greeks are allowed.
I like how Juve win, but I like how Napoli has a more attractive football.
Okay.
Well, you're talking about winning, you're talking about offense, there's so many
Your
variables.
team. You either choose Juve's attack or you choose Napoli's attack. Don't go for any go-arounds. That's all I'm giving you.
If I just pick attack just to like have a play around.
I want one answer. I don't want 2 answers.
Okay.
One answer.
If I just pick one, lovely football, I pick Napoli. Napoli, it's beautiful, beautiful football. Juve win, yeah, but they don't have to. They have great attackers, but they don't.
I'd rather win than just play beautiful football. But yeah, you guys answer in the comments below. As always, put your thoughts on all the games that we had to talk about. A little bit of a different episode, trying to go with this format. Let us know what you think. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Ciao,
ragazzi.